So I want you to try and imagine walking into this really beautiful room. The lighting is warm, it's cozy.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, everyone around you is smiling, they're laughing, just having a great time. And people are actively offering to bring you delicious food and wonderful drinks.
Right. I mean, it basically sounds like paradise.
It does. It sounds like paradise.
Yeah.
But instead of feeling happy, your heart is just pounding. You are sweating. You feel like you're standing in front of a ticking bomb, trying to figure out which wire to cut.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the person staring at you, waiting for you to make a decision, is just a waiter holding a notepad.
It's a very specific kind of panic, isn't it?
It really, really is.
You're in a restaurant in a foreign country, the waiter approaches, and suddenly every single English word you've ever learned just completely vanishes from your brain.
Exactly. It's like forgetting your own name during a high-stakes test.
Yeah, your mind just goes totally blank.
Right. And if you're an English learner who loves to travel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So welcome to our deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is to cure a very specific phobia. We are going to cure your menu panic.
Menu panic. That really is the perfect term for it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's important to start by validating that fear. It is completely normal.
Oh, absolutely.
Because ordering food in a second language, it isn't just a vocabulary test. It's a high-speed social interaction, and it has rules you might not even know exist.
That is so true. So our goal today is to help you, the listener, feel completely comfortable and confident when you walk into a restaurant in an English-speaking country.
Especially places like the United States or the United Kingdom.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to be pulling some really fantastic insights from a show called Barking English.
A great show.
It is. The hosts of that show, Alex and Sarah, they focus on making English highly accessible for learners. And they shared this one story that I think perfectly captures why we are doing this deep dive today.
Oh, the story about the cafe in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly relatable.
It really is. Walk us through it.
So one of the hosts was visiting this very popular, trendy Australian-style cafe. There was this huge, long line of people waiting outside just to get a table.
Right.
And she noticed the tourists in the line. They were staring at this menu, which was entirely in English, and they had this look of absolute terror on their faces. She actually described it as the deer in the headlights look.
That is such a vivid image. And for our listeners who might not know that idiom, a deer in the headlights is a very common phrase in English.
Yeah, let's break that down.
So imagine a deer, the wild animal, standing in the middle of a dark road at night.
Right, it's totally dark.
Exactly. And suddenly a car speeds toward it with its bright headlights shining. The deer is so overwhelmed and frightened by that sudden bright light that it can't even run away. It just freezes in place.
It just stands there staring, waiting for impact. And I mean, I've absolutely been that deer.
We all have at some point.
Right. You're on fun vacation. You just want to eat a delicious burger or maybe some nice pasta. You've saved up all this money for your trip.
Yeah.
But instead of enjoying the anticipation of a good meal, you're standing there sweating, thinking, how do I talk to this waiter? What if they ask me a question and I don't understand their accent?
Or what if I say the wrong thing and everyone laughs at me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Well, let's just take a deep breath right now together, because I really want to reassure you. The primary goal of this deep dive is to take that pressure entirely off your shoulders.
Yes, please.
You do not need perfect textbook grammar to order food. You really, really don't.
But wait, I mean, when you're learning a language, aren't you supposed to try and speak perfectly?
In a classroom, maybe. But in a restaurant, the goal isn't to pass a grammar exam.
Right.
The goal is connection. The goal is being polite to the person serving you. And, most importantly, the goal is getting exactly what you want to eat.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Native English speakers don't use perfect grammar all the time either. So instead of worrying about complex sentence structures, we are going to equip you with the natural, polite phrases that native speakers actually use every single day.
Okay, I love that. We're going to give you a framework. So let's start at the very beginning of the restaurant experience.
The very beginning.
Because ordering food isn't just sitting down and talking. There's a whole psychological journey before you even look at a menu.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to actually get through the front door.
The physical threshold of the restaurant. And this is really where the first major cultural disconnect usually happens for travelers.
I see this all the time. The source material points out that in many casual dining cultures, particularly in various Asian countries, The system for entering a restaurant is incredibly straightforward.
It's very simple, yeah.
You walk in, you scan the room, you spot an empty table, and you just walk over and sit down. It's so efficient.
It is highly efficient. It's a self-directed system. But in the United States and the United Kingdom, if you're going to a sit-down restaurant...
And by that, we mean a place with waiters, not a fast food counter.
Yeah, right, exactly. In those places, just walking in and sitting down is a massive social mistake. It's a major faux pas.
Okay, I have to push back on this a little bit because as a customer, this American system drives me crazy sometimes.
It can be frustrating.
It really is. Let's say I walk into a restaurant at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's mostly empty. I can clearly see 5 clean, empty tables right by the window.
Mm-hmm.
Why on earth do I have to stand at the front door behind a little wooden podium waiting for someone to give me permission to sit?
Right, waiting by that little sign.
Yeah, the please wait to be seated sign. It makes the staff look lazy, honestly, and it feels incredibly inefficient. Why can't I just go sit at the empty table?
That is a very fair question, and it's exactly what goes through the minds of many tourists. It looks so inefficient from the outside.
It really does.
But we have to look at the psychology and the flow of the restaurant. You really have to look at it from the kitchen's perspective and the waiter's perspective.
Okay, explain the flow to me. What am I missing here?
Well, the person standing at the front, the host or hostess, they aren't there to keep you away from your food.
Okay.
They are actually the air traffic controller of the restaurant.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. A restaurant is divided into sections, and each waiter is assigned a specific section. Let's say waiter A has the tables by the window, and waiter B has the tables in the back.
Right, that makes sense.
So if the host lets 3 different groups of people walk in and sit at the window tables all at the exact same time...
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right. Waiter A suddenly has 3 new tables to serve simultaneously. They have to get drinks for all of them, take food orders for all of them, and enter all of that into the computer at the same time.
That's a lot of work at once.
It is. Waiter A becomes completely overwhelmed, and meanwhile, waiter B has absolutely nothing to do.
Oh, I see. So waiter A is running around in a panic, and my food is going to take 30 minutes because the kitchen just got hit with 3 orders at once.
Exactly. The host makes you wait at the front so they can control the rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
They will seat one group in waiter A's section, and then they'll seat the next group in waiter B's section. They are spreading the workload out evenly.
So they're protecting the waiters.
And protecting your experience as a customer. That's why even if the restaurant looks completely empty, you absolutely must wait at that sign.
The please wait to be seated sign.
Right. Because if you march past the host stand and sit yourself, you are messing up the entire delicate ecosystem of the restaurant. You'll definitely get some funny looks.
Wow. Okay, that completely changes how I view the person at the front door. They aren't a guard. They are a manager of time.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're standing at the host stand. We are being good tourists. We're waiting to be seated. The host makes eye contact. They smile. And then they usually ask a question.
Yes, they do.
And this question can be deeply confusing if you are learning English. They often say, "Hi there, how many in your party?"
The word party. This is a classic linguistic trap.
It really is. I love how the source notes break this down. Because if you are learning English in a traditional classroom, what does the word party mean to you?
It means a celebration?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It means music, balloons, maybe a birthday cake. You invite your friends over for a party.
Right.
So the English learner hears the restaurant host ask about a party. And they panic. They're like, wait, we aren't here to dance. I didn't bring a gift. I just want to eat a sandwich.
It is a very natural misunderstanding. But in the hospitality industry, which encompasses hotels, restaurants, and tourism, the word party has a secondary, very specific meaning. It simply means your group.
Just your group.
Yeah, it refers to the people who are traveling or eating together with you.
So if it's just me and my husband, we aren't having a celebration. We are just a party of 2.
Precisely. If it's you, your husband, and your 2 children, you are a party of 4. The host just wants to know the total number of human beings who will be sitting at the table.
Got it. Okay, so the host asks us how many people we have. And this brings us to a concept from the source material that I absolutely love. They call them pocket words.
Pocket words. Yes, these are brilliant tools for language learners.
How would you describe a pocket word?
Think of a pocket word as a small, highly useful phrase that you can put in your mental pocket.
I love that image.
Right. You carry it around with you and you pull it out exactly when you need it. You don't have to construct a full sentence from scratch.
No overthinking.
Exactly. You don't have to think about verb conjugation. You just pull the phrase out of your pocket and use it.
So our first pocket word for the restaurant is literally just table for and then the number.
That's it.
Just table for two or table for four.
It is incredibly simple, but it is vastly superior to what a textbook will teach you.
Let's talk about that. Because a formal English textbook would probably teach you to say something like, hello, good afternoon. We are a group of two people who would like to sit down at a table, please.
Yeah, and that sentence is grammatically flawless, but practically it's terrible.
Yeah, it really is.
It's too heavy. It just feels clunky.
Right. If I'm stressed and I try to say a 16-word sentence in a loud, busy restaurant, my brain is going to work way too hard.
Absolutely.
I'll probably stumble over the words halfway through and just get totally embarrassed.
Exactly. And you have to look at it from the host's perspective, too. They are busy, the phone is ringing, other people are waiting in line.
They just want the facts.
They don't need a formal speech. Native speakers always prefer short, punchy, polite phrases in these service interactions.
Make it easy for everyone.
Yes. When the host says, hi there, how can I help you? All you need to say is, hi, table for two, please.
Table for two, please. It sounds so natural. It sounds like you know exactly what you're doing.
It really communicates confidence. You are giving them the exact piece of data they need. The number two wrapped in just enough politeness with the word please.
And what if we walk in, it's very crowded, and we don't have a reservation? How do we ask if we can get a table without sounding demanding?
You can just modify that pocket word slightly and say, is there a wait for a table for two?
Oh, that is really smooth. Is there a wait for a table for two? You're politely asking if there's a line.
Exactly.
Huh.
And the host will usually say, yes, it's about a 20-minute wait, or no, I can seat you right now.
Okay, let's say they can seat us right now. The host grabs a couple of menus, smiles, and says, right this way.
A great feel.
We follow them through the restaurant. We sit down at our table. They hand us the menus. The first hurdle is cleared. We are safely inside.
We are, but the journey is just beginning.
Oh, no.
Because now you transition into the next phase. You're at the table, you're looking at a menu full of unfamiliar words, and the waiter approaches. The questions are about to begin.
This part can honestly feel like surviving a police interrogation.
It really can.
You're just sitting there trying to relax, and suddenly someone is standing over you firing questions at you.
The rapid-fire questioning is very characteristic of American and British dining, though particularly American.
No, they don't waste any time.
Usually, the waiter will arrive at your table within a minute or two of you sitting down, and their first question will almost always be about drinks.
Right.
They'll say something like, can I get you started with something to drink?
Which is a nice gesture. You can ask for some tap water, or maybe order a coffee or a beer to calm your nerves.
Exactly.
But as the source material rightly points out, the drink order is just a warm-up stretch. The real linguistic marathon happens when you try to order your main course.
This is what the source calls the pop quiz experience.
Yes. And they shared a story that perfectly illustrates this.
Yeah.
One of the hosts has a cousin who is visiting from Los Angeles.
Right.
This cousin went out to a classic American diner for breakfast. He looked at the menu, saw something simple, and thought, great, this is easy. He decided to order a basic breakfast combo. Eggs, toast, and bacon.
Now, in many countries around the world, if you look at a waiter and say, I'll have the eggs, toast, and bacon, the transaction is totally over.
Right, you've ordered.
The kitchen cooks their standard style of eggs, they use their standard bread, and they bring it to you. End of story.
But not in the United States. The cousin orders his simple breakfast.
Yeah.
And immediately, the waitress looks at him, clicks her pen, and starts shooting questions at him like a machine gun.
Oh, boy.
She says, okay, how do you want your eggs? Scrambled? Over easy, sunny side up? What kind of toast do you want? White, wheat, rye, sourdough? You want hash browns or country potatoes with that?
And how did the cousin react to this barrage of questions?
He completely froze. The story says he looked at his family like he had been betrayed. Yeah, like they had tricked him into taking an advanced culinary exam without studying. He had no idea what sunny side up meant or the difference between a hash brown and a country potato.
That feeling of betrayal is so real for travelers.
It is.
You think you've crossed the finish line just by speaking a sentence in English, and suddenly the waiter throws 5 new vocabulary words at you.
It's exhausting.
Let's actually unpack those breakfast words really quickly for our listeners, just to demystify them.
Please do, because I think a lot of people just guess and end up with food they ate.
Right. So when they ask how you want your eggs, Scrambled means the eggs are mixed up in a bowl before cooking, so they are yellow and soft.
Okay, scrambled is mixed up.
Over easy means they fry the egg and then flip it over in the pan, so both sides are cooked, but the yellow center is still liquid.
I see.
And sunny side up means they fry it on the bottom only, so the bright yellow yolk looks like a little sun shining on top of the egg.
Sunny side up. That makes sense visually.
Heck.
And the bread interrogation.
So many breads.
White bread is the soft, sweet bread. Wheat is brown bread. Sourdough has a slightly sour, fermented taste.
Right.
And potatoes? Hash browns are shredded potatoes pressed into a crispy patty, while country potatoes are usually cubed chunks of potato fried with onions. It is just an exhausting amount of choice.
It really is. But this raises a fundamental question about navigating foreign cultures. Why do American restaurants do this?
Yeah, why?
It's not because they want to torture tourists.
Although it feels like it.
True. But it's deeply rooted in the American culture of choice and hyper-individualism.
Hyper-individualism, what does that mean in the context of breakfast?
It means that in American culture, there is a deep belief that every individual has unique preferences, and the highest form of customer service is catering exactly to those preferences.
Oh, I see.
They don't want to assume you like your eggs a certain way, because assuming takes away your freedom of choice, so they offer you every possible option.
Okay, understanding the cultural why definitely helps, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm still sitting there sweating, trying to remember what sourdough is.
Absolutely.
So what is the strategy here? What do I do when the waiter hits me with a rapid-fire question and I just don't understand the options?
First, you have to remember that you hold the power in this dynamic.
I do?
Yes. You are the customer. You don't need to hide, and you shouldn't just nod and guess. If you just nod and say yes, you might end up with something you hate.
Good point.
The most important strategy is to simply ask the waiter to help you.
But how do we do that without feeling embarrassed or sounding stupid?
By realizing that native English speakers do this constantly.
Really?
Oh, all the time. If a waiter speaks too fast or rattles off a list of 5 different salad dressings, a native speaker will just smile, look at the waiter, and say, "Sorry, what were my options again?"
Sorry, what were my options again? That is a great phrase.
It is.
It doesn't mean I don't speak English. It just means you gave me too much information at once. Please repeat it.
Exactly.
Oh, well.
Or if their accent is thick and you truly didn't catch the words, it's perfectly fine to say, "Sorry, could you speak just a little slower for me?"
That's very polite.
People in the restaurant industry are generally very accommodating. They want you to have a good meal, and they want a good tip at the end. They will happily slow down.
I actually have a personal story about this.
Oh, let's hear it.
I was once in a restaurant, and the waiter listed off 3 different side dishes. I didn't recognize any of the words, but I was way too embarrassed to ask.
Oh, no.
So I just confidently said, "I'll take the second one."
What was the second one?
When the food arrived, it was a massive bowl of steamed Brussels sprouts, which I absolutely despise.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was. And I sat there eating them out of pure stubbornness so I wouldn't look foolish. What should I have said instead?
That is a perfect example of why guessing is dangerous. When you're faced with options you don't understand or you're just overwhelmed by the menu, you pull out this magic phrase.
Okay, what is it?
You say, "What do you recommend?"
What do you recommend? Oh, you're asking the waiter for their personal favorite.
Yes. You are transferring the pressure of decision-making from yourself onto the waiter. You are acknowledging their expertise.
That is so smart.
And waiters actually love this question. They will usually smile, point at the menu, and say, "Honestly, the scrambled eggs and the sourdough toast are my absolute favorite."
And then what do I say?
All you have to do is say, "Great, I'll take that."
That relieves an enormous amount of pressure. You just let them drive the car.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've survived the barrage of questions. Let's talk about the actual mechanics of telling the waiter what main dish you want. Because there is a very common trap here for language learners.
A huge trap.
And this brings us to pocket word number 2.
This is perhaps the most crucial phrase of the entire dining experience. When it's your turn to order, you should say, "I'll have," or "I'd like to get."
I'll have. Let's dissect why this is so important, because a lot of beginners don't use this.
They don't.
A beginner will often point their finger at a picture on the menu, look up at the waiter, and say, "I want this." Or they'll point to a word and say, "I want the chicken."
We really need to carefully break down why saying "I want" is a massive social trap.
Let's do it.
If you look at it strictly through the lens of grammar, "I want the chicken" is a flawless English sentence. Subject, verb, object. It's technically perfect.
But socially, it feels like nails on a chalkboard. It just feels wrong.
Yes, it is socially flawed. When you use the phrase "I want" in English, it comes across as a direct imperative demand.
Like an order.
Right. It's not a request. It's a statement of entitlement. It strips away the polite social contract between two adults.
It sounds like a toddler. If I take my nephew to a toy store, he doesn't say, "I'd like to get the fire truck." He points his finger and yells, "I want that toy. Give it to me."
That is exactly the emotional tone it projects. When an adult says, "I want the chicken" to a waiter, the waiter feels like they're being spoken to like a servant or like a parent dealing with a demanding child.
That's a great way to describe it.
It lacks what the source material brilliantly calls conversational grease.
I am obsessed with this term, conversational grease. Let's explore what that actually means in linguistics.
Think about a mechanical engine. If a machine doesn't have oil or grease, the metal gears grind against each other.
Right, lots of friction.
It creates heat, it makes a harsh screeching sound, and eventually the machine breaks down. That is friction. But if you apply grease to those gears, they move smoothly, quietly, and efficiently.
That makes perfect sense.
Human conversation operates on the exact same principle. We use certain polite words, conditionals, pleasantries, softeners, to grease the interaction. We want to remove the social friction.
So saying "I want" creates friction. It's metal grinding on metal. Saying "I'll have" is the grease. It makes the transaction smooth.
Precisely. "I'll have the grilled salmon, please." It's polite, it's standard, and it shows respect for the person serving you. It implies a future arrangement rather than an immediate demand.
I love that.
And "I'd like to get a large iced latte" is another fantastic, well-greased option.
Let's practice adding even more grease to this. Let's say you're looking at a huge menu. The waiter asks what you want, and you finally made up your mind.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, "I'll have the cheeseburger," the source suggests a phrase that sounds incredibly fluent. You can say, "I think I'll go with the cheeser."
I think I'll go with the cheeseburger. Oh, that is exceptionally natural English.
It feels very relaxed.
It does. By adding "I think I'll go with," you are signaling to the waiter that you've carefully considered all their wonderful options and you've arrived at a happy conclusion. It sounds conversational.
I think I'll go with the spicy chicken sandwich. I'm going to start using that myself. It just feels good to say, it has a nice rhythm to it.
It really does.
Okay, so we've greased the wheels, we've ordered our main dish smoothly. But as we learned from the breakfast story, American restaurants aren't just about picking an item off a list.
No, they are not.
They expect you to mess with the list.
Yeah.
And that leads us organically into the culture of taking control of the menu.
Yes, the expectation of customization. Ordering food in the West, particularly in North America, isn't just about accepting the chef's vision.
Right.
It's about adapting the meal to fit your specific life.
The source material literally calls Americans the kings and queens of customizing food.
It is an accurate title, honestly. And this is a stark contrast to many European and Asian culinary traditions.
How so?
Well, in some high-end food cultures, asking a chef to alter a recipe is considered a grave insult. The chef is the artist, you are the audience. You eat the art exactly as it was created.
You wouldn't tell a painter to change a color.
Exactly. But in America, the customer is the artist and the chef is the tool. The customer's preference overrides the chef's original recipe.
You can change almost anything. I want the burger, but no bun, wrapped in lettuce with a different cheese and no tomatoes. And the waiter won't even blink.
They hear it all day long.
There are generally two reasons you'd need to do this. The first, and most serious, is dietary restrictions. Things like allergies.
This is critical. If you have a severe peanut allergy or a gluten intolerance, you must communicate that to the waiter. American restaurants are hyper-aware of food allergies and will take it very seriously to keep you safe.
But the second reason is just simple personal preference.
No.
You just don't like a specific ingredient.
Right.
And the source gives the most perfect example for this. Cilantro. That leafy green herb they put on tacos and in Asian soups.
Ah, cilantro, or coriander as it's known in the UK. This is a fascinating culinary divide.
It really is.
To a large portion of the population, cilantro tastes fresh, bright, and citrusy. But to a specific subset of people, due to a genetic variation in their olfactory receptors, cilantro literally tastes like a bar of soap.
I am one of those people. It is a genetic curse.
Oh, really?
Yes. If there is even one leaf of cilantro in my salsa, my brain says, "Stop, you are eating dish soap." It ruins the entire meal.
That sounds awful.
It is. So if I'm in a Mexican restaurant and I see cilantro listed on the taco description, I need to know how to ask the kitchen to leave it off.
Or let's say I want a salad, but I hate when restaurants drown the lettuce in dressing.
Yes.
I want the dressing, but I want to control the amount. This brings us to pocket word number 3.
Pocket word number 3. Let's hear it.
On the side.
On the side. This is a phrase of absolute power for a diner. Explain the mechanics of this phrase. What actually happens in the kitchen when I say this?
When you ask for an ingredient or a sauce on the side, you are instructing the kitchen not to mix that element into your main dish.
Okay.
Instead, the chef will place that ingredient in a small, separate container, usually a little plastic or ceramic cup, and they will physically place that little cup next to your main plate. It arrives on the side of your meal.
This gives the diner total control over their own experience. Let's do a role-play scenario straight from the source notes to show how this works.
Great idea.
Let's say I'm at an American sports bar, and I really want to try authentic buffalo wings.
Yeah.
For our listeners, buffalo wings are deep-fried chicken wings covered in a very specific, spicy, vinegar-based red sauce.
They are delicious, but they can be aggressively spicy depending on the restaurant.
Right. I want to try them, but I'm terrified they're going to burn my mouth and ruin my night. I really can't handle extreme spice. But I still want the flavor. How do I use our pocket word here?
You combine your conversational grease with your customization tool. You look at the waiter and say, I think I'll go with the buffalo wings. But I'm a little sensitive to spice. Could I get the buffalo sauce on the side, please?
And what's the waiter's reaction to that? Will they be annoyed?
Not at all. The waiter will likely say, absolutely, no problem, we'll put that sauce on the side for you.
Wow, that's easy.
Yeah. And now, when your plate arrives, you have a pile of crispy, plain chicken wings and a little cup of red-hot sauce next to them. You can take one wing, dip just the very tip of it into the sauce, and test the spice level yourself. You are in total control of the heat.
It's brilliant. It takes all the risk out of ordering. And you can do this with salad dressings, mayonnaise on a burger, hot fudge on a dessert. Could I get the dressing on the side? It's a lifesaver.
It really is.
Now, while we're talking about taking control and talking to the waiter, we need to address another area where literal translation from a textbook gets learners into a lot of trouble. We need to apply some conversational grease to another common mistake.
Yes, we need to talk about softening our requests, making our language gentler and more collaborative.
The source material highlights a scenario that makes me cringe, but I hear it all the time. A tourist sits down at a table in a hot city after walking around all day. They're exhausted and very thirsty.
Right.
The waiter walks up to introduce themselves, and the tourist looks up and says, "Give me water."
Oh, wow. Yes, that is incredibly harsh to an English speaker's ear.
The source notes say it sounds like a military command. Like a general barking orders at a foot soldier in a war movie, "Give me water."
Let's connect this to the broader psychology of language and service cultures.
Let's do it.
In English, using the imperative verb form, starting your sentence with an action verb like give, bring, make, or fetch, is almost universally considered rude when interacting with service workers.
It completely removes the worker's agency.
Yes. It implies a master-servant dynamic.
And in modern American and British culture, we do not like the master-servant dynamic.
We actively reject it. The cultural ideal in these countries is that the waiter and the customer are social equals engaging in a mutually beneficial transaction.
Right. It's a team effort.
The waiter is a professional providing a service, not a servant bound to your commands. If you bark, "Give me water," you are violating that social contract.
And the waiter will probably think you are arrogant.
Exactly. And quite frankly, you will probably receive worse service for the rest of the meal.
So how do we smooth out, "Give me water"? We need water. We have to ask for it. So how do we ask nicely?
We use conditionals to turn the harsh command into a polite question. Instead of "Give me water," a native speaker will ask, "Could we start with some water, please?"
Could we start with some water, please? Or even simpler, "Can I get a glass of water, please?"
Notice the psychological shift there. You aren't commanding them to do an action. You are asking if it is possible for you to receive something. It's much softer.
Could we start with some water, please? It respects their autonomy. It changes the entire emotional temperature of the interaction from hostile to friendly.
It is amazing how changing 3 words completely changes how someone perceives your personality.
Words have power.
They really do. Now, speaking of awkward moments we need to smooth out, there's one more scenario regarding pacing that gives learners a lot of anxiety.
The timing of the order.
Yes, you sat down, you've ordered your drinks, you are deep in conversation with your travel partner about the museum you just visited. You haven't even opened the menu yet.
It happens.
And suddenly the waiter is standing right there, pen poised, asking, "Are you folks ready to order?"
This happens constantly. Waiters are trying to keep their tables moving.
The natural reaction for an English learner who is put on the spot is to panic. They feel rushed, so they hold up a hand and blurt out, "No, wait."
No, wait. Let's analyze why this, again, is a problematic phrase despite being grammatically correct.
It's incredibly abrupt, isn't it? It's sharp. It feels like you're holding up a physical stop sign right in front of their face. It's jarring.
Exactly.
You have to remember the restaurant flow we talked about earlier. Waiters have a rhythm. They have a mental checklist for all their tables. When you wait at them, you're aggressively breaking their rhythm.
It feels dismissive, like you're swatting away a fly.
Yes. So we need a polite alternative, a way to buy some more time, tell them we aren't ready without ruining their rhythm or sounding rude.
Okay, what is the alternative?
The smoothest, most empathetic way to handle this situation is to say, "We just need a couple more minutes, please."
We just need a couple more minutes, please. I love the rhythm of that sentence. The source also suggests a great variation. We're still deciding.
Both are excellent tools. Let's look at why "we just need a couple more minutes, please" works so well. It accomplishes two things simultaneously.
What are they?
First, it acknowledges the waiter's question politely. You aren't ignoring them. Second, and most importantly, it gives them permission to walk away.
That is key.
Yes. You are clearly communicating the status of your table so they can go help someone else. "We just need a couple more minutes," tells the waiter. "See you, but I need time. Go check on table 4 and come back." It's cooperative.
Normally, the waiter will just smile, say no rush at all, take your time, and slip away. The pressure instantly evaporates. You can go back to talking about your museum trip.
It's all about maintaining that smooth, cooperative connection with the staff.
All right, let's keep moving forward in our restaurant journey. We've navigated the host stand. We survived the interrogation. We used our conversational grease to order perfectly. And we customized our meal.
We're doing great.
We've just finished eating. The plates are messy, but now we are faced with the end of the meal. And this brings us to the final major cultural hurdles. The art of the exit.
Dealing with leftovers, tipping, and bills.
The exit is arguably the most complex part of the American dining experience for foreigners because the financial and social rules shift dramatically.
Let's start with the physical food left on the table, because we have to talk about American portion sizes.
Oh, yes.
If you are traveling to the U.S. for the first time, you will be stunned by the sheer volume of food they put on one plate. It is massive.
It is a globally recognized phenomenon. The portion sizes in American restaurants are often double or even triple what you would receive in a European or Asian restaurant.
Easily double.
It is incredibly common that you, as a diner, simply cannot finish the meal in one sitting.
And the food is usually delicious, so you don't want to just leave it there to be thrown in the garbage. That feels wasteful.
Exactly. You want to take that half-eaten pizza or that big piece of steak back to your hotel room. So you need to ask the waiter for a container. And this brings us to pocket word number 4.
Pocket word number 4 is a to-go box, or as you might hear some people call it, a doggy bag.
I have to admit, I laughed out loud reading the source notes on the slang origin of doggy bag. It's such a funny piece of cultural history.
It's a great example of how language evolves around social embarrassment.
Right. So the source explains that decades ago, maybe in the 1940s or 50s, people felt deeply embarrassed to ask a restaurant to pack up their leftover food.
It was seen as uncouth.
Yeah, they thought it made them look poor or cheap, like they couldn't afford to just buy another meal later. But they also didn't want to waste a good piece of meat. So they invented a polite fiction.
A little white lie.
Exactly. They would tell the waiter, "Oh, my dog at home would love this bone. Can I have a bag for the dog?"
It was a socially acceptable excuse to save the food. But of course, in reality, there was usually no dog.
Exactly. They were taking that steak home, putting it in the fridge, and eating it for a midnight snack themselves. We are all guilty of that.
Definitely.
Eating cold leftover restaurant food in a hotel bed while watching TV is honestly one of the best parts of a vacation.
It truly is a traveler's joy. Now, while doggy bag is a fun slang term with a rich history, the language has shifted. Today, nobody is embarrassed about taking food home. It's completely expected.
So what should we say?
Therefore, I strongly advise our listeners to use the modern phrasing, a to-go box. It is clear, direct, and universally understood.
Let's practice the mechanics of asking for it. The waiter comes over, sees you've stopped eating, and asks, "Are you still working on that, or can I clear your plate?" How do I respond?
You can point to your plate and say, I'm completely stuffed. Could I actually get a to-go box for the rest of this?
I'm completely stuffed is great native slang for being very full. Could I get a to-go box? It's polite and clear. What happens next?
Depending on the restaurant style, one of two things will happen.
Okay.
Either the waiter will bring you a clean, empty cardboard or plastic box and leave it on the table for you to pack the food yourself. Or they will pick up your plate, carry it to the kitchen, professionally pack it into a box, and bring it back to you in a paper bag. Both are normal.
Okay, the food is boxed up. We're ready to leave. Now comes the final boss of the restaurant experience, the payment ritual.
The payment ritual.
And I call it a ritual because it truly is a highly choreographed dance, and it is totally different from the rest of the world.
It is a massive cultural divergence. In many countries in Europe and Asia, when you are finished eating and ready to leave, you stand up from your table, you walk your physical body over to a cash register near the front door, and you pay the cashier directly.
But if you try to do that in a sit-down restaurant in the United States or the UK, chaos ensues.
Total confusion.
Yeah.
If you stand up and walk toward the door in an American restaurant without paying at the table, the staff might think you were trying to run away and steal the meal.
Oh, that's true.
In the US and UK, the entire payment ritual is performed while you remain seated at your table. It is a multi-step process that can take 5 to 10 minutes.
Let's break down this multi-step process so our listeners aren't surprised. Step 1, initiating the exit.
Right. You must first signal to the waiter that you are ready to pay. You wait for them to walk by, make eye contact, and say, "Excuse me, could we get the check, please?" Or in the UK, "Could we get the bill, please?"
Check and bill mean the exact same thing in this context. It's the piece of paper with the total cost. So you ask for the check. Step 2. The waiter brings you a small booklet. It usually looks like a little black leather folder. They place it on your table and immediately walk away.
They leave it there so you have privacy to open the booklet, look at the itemized receipt inside, and verify that all the charges are correct without the waiter staring at you.
It's nice to have that privacy.
It is. Once you've reviewed it, you begin step 3, what we can call the credit card dance.
The credit card dance. I've never thought about it like a dance, but it really is. So you take your credit card and you place it inside the little leather booklet. But here's the trick. You have to let the top edge of the credit card stick out of the top of the booklet.
That protruding edge is a visual signal to the waiter from across the room. The waiter sees the card sticking out, they know you are ready. They swoop by, pick up the booklet, and take your credit card away to a computer terminal somewhere in the back of the restaurant to process the payment.
Which, I should note, terrifies a lot of European tourists. Handing your credit card to a stranger who walks away with it feels very unsafe to many cultures, but it is 100% standard practice in America. Nobody is stealing your information.
It requires a lot of cultural trust, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes step 4. The waiter returns to your table with the booklet. Inside, they have left your credit card, a pen, and 2 printed receipts.
Okay, 2 receipts.
One receipt says, "Customer copy for you to keep." The other says, "Merchant copy. This is the one you must sign." And this brings us to the most infamous part of American dining, tipping.
Tipping. We're going to do a full 2-hour deep dive on the ethics and economics of tipping culture today, because that is a massive, highly debated topic.
It certainly is.
But as a traveler, you simply need to understand the structural reality of why it exists so you don't accidentally insult your waiter.
The structural reality is based on wage laws. In the United States, restaurant servers are often paid what is called a tipped minimum wage. This base wage is shockingly low, sometimes as little as $2 or $3 an hour. The legal assumption is that the server will make up the rest of their living wage through tips given directly by the customers.
So a tip isn't just a fun little bonus for exceptional service like it might be in Japan or France. A tip in America is quite literally how the waiter pays their rent and buys their groceries.
Yes.
It is an expected part of the cost of the meal. The source material notes that tipping 15 to 20% of the total bill is the absolute standard.
So when you look at that merchant copy receipt, you will see a blank line printed with the word tip. You must use the provided pen to calculate 15 to 20% of your bill, write that dollar amount on the tip line, and then write the final combined total on the bottom line before signing your name. It is a cultural and economic necessity.
It's a lot of math to do after a big meal. But what if you aren't paying for the whole thing? Let's imagine a scenario. You were traveling with 3 other friends, you all had a great meal, you all ordered different things, but you don't want one single person to pay for the entire expensive dinner.
Right. That wouldn't be fair.
And because you're on vacation, you definitely don't want to sit at the table doing complicated algebra, transferring money on your phones, trying to figure out who owes who for exactly what.
That ruins the end of a nice evening. And this brings us to our fifth and final pocket word. For group travelers, this is undoubtedly the most powerful tool in your arsenal. It is the magical phrase, split the check.
Split the check. Walk us through the mechanics of this magic trick.
In many cultures, asking a restaurant to divide a bill is a huge hassle. But American point-of-sale computer systems are designed to do this instantly.
Oh, that's convenient.
Very. When you ask the waiter for the bill initially, you simply say, "Excuse me, would it be possible to split the check, please?" This signals the waiter that you want the total cost divided.
And the best part is the physical transaction. If there are 4 of you, you can literally just hand the waiter 4 different credit cards.
Yes. You say, "Could we split the check 4 ways?" And you hand them a stack of 4 cards. The waiter takes the cards back to their computer. They push a button that divides the total bill. Let's say it's $100 by 4.
Well, just like that.
The computer charges exactly $25 to each of the 4 credit cards. The waiter returns with 4 separate receipt booklets, one for each of you to sign and add your own tip to.
It is a phenomenal system. It saves you from so much headache. No one has to feel guilty. No one is hunting for exact cash. It's clean, fair, and fast. Split the check. I absolutely love it.
It is the ultimate practical tool for avoiding social awkwardness at the end of a group meal.
Okay, we have covered an incredible amount of ground. We've gone through all the phases. We understand the flow of the restaurant. We have our pocket words. We know how to apply conversational grease to smooth out our clunky phrasing. Now it's time to test our knowledge.
This is where we ensure the concepts actually crystallize for you, the listener. We need to see how these pieces connect in real time.
To do that, the source material provided a really wonderful start-to-finish role-play scenario. It takes place at a fictional restaurant called the Windy City Grill in Chicago. We are going to walk through this chronological journey, step by step.
That sounds perfect.
We'll pause along the way to analyze the psychology of the interaction so you can see exactly how a stress-free experience is built.
Let's set the scene. The tourist walks through the front doors of the Windy City Grill. They don't have a reservation. They walk up to the host's stand. The host smiles and initiates the interaction.
Hi there, welcome to the Windy City Grill. How you doing tonight?
And the tourist, instead of freezing like a deer in the headlights, answers smoothly.
I'm doing great, thank you. Do you have a table for 2 available? We don't have a reservation.
Let's pause and analyze that opening. It is beautiful in its efficiency. The tourist didn't overthink it. They engaged with the pleasantry, "I'm doing great," and then immediately deployed our first pocket word, table for 2.
Very smooth.
They also proactively answered the host's next logical question by stating they don't have a reservation. No long, clunky textbook sentences, just direct, polite communication.
It instantly sets a friendly, competent tone. So the host says, "Right this way," and seats them at a booth. A minute later, the waiter arrives. The waiter says, "Good evening, folks. My name is Mark. Could we start with some water, or would you like to hear about our cocktail specials tonight?"
Here, the tourist uses a clever variation of our time-buying strategy. They reply, "Just water for now, thank you."
Just water for now is such a great natural phrase. It secures a drink, but the "for now" clearly signals to Mark the waiter that they haven't looked at the menu yet and aren't ready to order anything substantial.
Exactly. It manages expectations perfectly. Mark brings the water and leaves. A few minutes pass. The tourist is still chatting and hasn't decided on food. Mark returns. This is the danger zone we talked about. Mark asks, "All right, are you folks ready to order, or do you need a bit more time?"
If the tourist didn't have our framework, they might panic and yell the abrupt, rhythm-breaking phrase, "No, wait." But our tourist is prepared. They gracefully use our smoothed-out phrase and say, "Actually, we just need a couple more minutes, please. We're still deciding between a few things."
Flawless execution. We just need a couple more minutes, please. Mark feels respected. His rhythm isn't broken. It's merely redirected. He says, "No problem at all. Take your time," and goes to check on another table.
5 minutes later, Mark returns, and it's time for the main event, the order and customization.
Mark asks, "Okay, what can I get started for you?"
The tourist knows they want the mushroom Swiss burger, but they hate soggy buns, so they want to control the mayonnaise. They avoid the demanding, "I want the burger" trap. Instead, they say, confidently, "I think I'll go with the mushroom Swiss burger. But can I get the mayonnaise on the side, please?"
This is truly masterful conversational engineering. They combine the conversational grease. I think I'll go with the customization pocket word on the side.
It's perfect.
They get exactly the food they want, exactly how they want it prepared, and they sound incredibly fluent doing it. They've removed all friction.
It's so smooth. So they eat the burger, it's delicious. But American portions are huge, so there are leftover fries. We fast forward to the exit. Mark comes over and asks, "Can I clear these plates out of your way?"
The tourist handles the leftovers smoothly. It was amazing, thank you. But I am so full. Could I actually get a to-go box for the rest of my fries?
Our fourth pocket word, to-go box, applied perfectly. Mark says, "Absolutely, I'll grab a box for you. Can I tempt you with any dessert tonight?"
The tourist declines, and then uses our final magic phrase to initiate the second ritual. They say, "No, we're all set, thank you. But when you have a moment, could we split the check, please?" And hands Mark 2 credit cards.
Mark takes the cards, runs them, brings back the slips to be signed and tipped, and says, "Have a great night. The interaction is complete. Everyone is happy."
When you look at the interaction broken down like this, from start to finish, it really demystifies the whole process, doesn't it? It takes the fear away.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Because you realize it's just a pattern.
What's fascinating here, and I think this is the most important psychological takeaway for you as a listener, is how relying on these specific, simple phrases eliminates your cognitive load.
Cognitive load, right.
When you use these pocket words, your brain isn't frantically translating complex grammar while a waiter is standing over you staring.
Right. You aren't doing high-speed mental gymnastics trying to remember past participles.
Exactly. You've built a structural framework. You know exactly what the waiter's role is, and you know exactly which pre-packaged phrase to pull out in response. Because the framework is strong and reliable, your brain can actually relax. You can focus on enjoying the atmosphere, tasting the food, and talking to your friends.
You can actually enjoy the vacation you paid for, which is the entire point of traveling. So what does this all mean as we wrap up our deep dive today? It means that if you are learning English, you need to radically change your goal when you walk through the doors of a restaurant.
Your goal is not to prove to the waiter that you have perfect academic grammar. Your goal is human connection, basic politeness, and successfully acquiring a delicious meal.
If you smile, if you use a little bit of conversational grease to soften your requests, and if you keep those short pocket words ready, you are going to do amazing. You will not just survive, you will thrive in any restaurant in the US or UK.
I completely agree. Practical communication will always triumph over academic perfection in the real world.
So we want to invite you, our listener, to do a little mental exercise right now, wherever you are. Imagine your next big trip. Imagine you're sitting in a wonderful, bustling restaurant in New York City or London. You look at the menu. What is your absolute favorite thing to order? Close your eyes and practice saying it out loud right now, using our greased-up pocket word. Say, "I think I'll go with the you," and then fill in the blank with your favorite food.
I think I'll go with the spicy ramen. I think I'll go with the pepperoni pizza. Just feel how natural and confident that sounds coming out of your mouth. Practice saying it until it feels like second nature.
It really works. Before we go, though, I know you always have something for us to think about, a bigger picture concept to consider from today's sources.
I do. We've spent this entire hour analyzing how to adapt to the specific language of Western restaurants. We've learned how to soften our commands, how to patiently wait to be seated, how to ask for customization. But it makes you wonder, how much does the specific hospitality language of a country actually act as a mirror for its deeper cultural values?
Well, that is a fascinating angle. Like, what do our specific restaurant phrases say about who we are as a society?
Exactly. When a culture demands that customers soften a phrase like "give me water" into a conditional request, like "could I start with some water, please?" What does that tell us about their deeper beliefs regarding social equality?
I see where you're going with this.
It tells us they reject rigid class structures where one person is a servant. The language we are socially forced to use in a restaurant reveals a tremendous amount about how a society views dignity, service, and the treatment of strangers.
Wow. That is a fantastic question to ponder. A menu isn't just a list of food and prices. It's a map of a culture's psychology. I love that.
It gives you something interesting to think about while you're sitting at the table waiting for your food to arrive.
Well, we have covered an immense amount of ground today, from the front door air traffic controller host to the final credit card signature. So the next time you find yourself standing in front of a busy cafe, staring at an English menu, remember you do not have to be the deer in the headlights anymore. You have the tools, you have the phrases, and you understand the psychology behind it all.
You absolutely do. Just take a deep breath, trust your framework, reach into your pocket for your words, and enjoy the experience of being somewhere new.
We hope you feel a lot more relaxed and ready for your next culinary adventure abroad. Keep practicing without stressing about perfection, be kind to yourself as you learn, and we will see you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone, and safe travels.